integrating technology into government services, protecting the environment, and bittersweet moment as Usain Bolt competes in his final race on home soil. At the top of the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness called for more support for entrepreneurs who he called agents of growth in any economy. He was speaking at Tuesday's opening of the relocated Branson Centre of Entrepreneurship Caribbean in Kingston. The centre, previously located in Montego Bay, provides business support services to 88 Jamaican entrepreneurs in an effort to scale up their operations for positive economic impact.
The government of Jamaica is grateful, very grateful to you. And we encourage other business persons to do this, to make this investment in creating entrepreneurs. The more entrepreneurs we have, the more we will be able to achieve 5 in 4.
On a more somber note, Mr. Holness expressed deep regret at the passing of 2 of Jamaica's jewels. When news came Monday of Lady Ivy Cook's passing at age 100, the Prime Minister lauded her as an outstanding educator. And he said a significant gap had been left in the island's football program following Tuesday's passing of Captain Horace Burrell. In Parliament Tuesday afternoon, Prime Minister Holness joined discussions on a private member's motion on measures to improve mathematics and science performance in schools. He shared that through the Education Transformation Project, measures were put in place and significant investments were made in developing an entire teaching stream to improve mathematics performance. In addition to a national coordinator being hired, government had also put in place a system of measuring mathematics outcomes at the primary level through the Grade 4 numeracy test.
We are very much close to achieving universal literacy at the primary level. The emphasis now must be on universal numeracy. That will take some time. I would suggest to the member that yes, we need to redouble our efforts, look at new measures, but we need to support the measures that already exist.
And as the island observed National Environmental Awareness Week, the Prime Minister gave an update on government's waste-to-energy program.
A report will be ready very soon by a consultant who is examining the options for Jamaica. And I'm hoping that very soon, I would say before the year is out, we will start on a program of having a total transformation on how we collect and manage and create a cycle of use for waste in Jamaica.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking at the 5th anniversary of LASCO Relief Environmental Awareness Program. He used the function to encourage children to safeguard the environment.
We can get them to appreciate that they have a responsibility. Then they will school their parents. They will get their bigger brother and their uncles and aunts and cousins. They can become the agent for change in their household.
By Wednesday afternoon, the Prime Minister was reassuring the credit union community that government's move to reform the sector would not change the nature of its operations. The reform will see the Bank of Jamaica having primary responsibility to regulate credit unions. Mr. Holness reasoned that though the sector had done an excellent job regulating itself for 70 years, government had a duty to protect the financial sector from crime, corruption, and terrorism.
Regulation is in everyone's interest, but of course the regulators have to ensure that in regulating, they don't change the nature and character of this cooperative movement.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the press launch of Gateway Cooperative Credit Union 2017, now the 4th largest credit union on the island. It was back to Kingston Thursday for discussions with the National Partnership Council.
We're not emphasizing the digital society because it sounds good. We're emphasizing the creation of the digital society because it will bring economic growth and job creation.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness reaffirming the state's move to quickly transform Jamaica into the first fully digital government in the region. By providing online access to government services with the use of technology, Mr. Holness said greater inclusion, improved service delivery, cutting off bureaucracy, and greater efficiency would be achieved. The first step towards that thrust, Mr. Holness said, was the $68 million IDB-funded National Identification System to be rolled out in 2018.
All of this has to be coordinated. So we have signed off on our GovNet strategy. We have signed off on our e-governance policy. We are now trying to create the Chief Information Officer post.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking Friday at an e-governance briefing facilitated by the IDB. During the briefing, Estonia's executive director of its e-governance academy shared the country's achievement in making 90% of its services accessible in a digital format.
This is a great opportunity to introduce to the wider Jamaican population new technology for construction that can radically change the face of Jamaica.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking at Friday's Build Expo and Conference in Montego Bay, St. James. Mr. Holness pointed out that while conventional building technology had served the nation well, it was time to venture into newer ones.
There are other building technologies there that are just as strong, energy efficient, easier to build and manipulate, last longer, and far more affordable. So I'm hoping that this expo will introduce some of these new technologies and will help to challenge the cultural idiosyncrasies that we have about our built environment.
The Prime Minister closed out his week at the National Stadium to watch Usain Bolt run his last competitive race on Jamaican soil before his retirement.
May God bless you in your future endeavors. And on behalf of a grateful people, on behalf of a grateful country, on behalf of the world, on behalf of the sport, we say thank you.
Before Saturday's race, Mr. Holness granted the BBC an interview to speak about the legendary Jamaican.
What I admire about Usain Bolt is that he has managed to excel, to reach the highest pinnacle of the sport without any suggestion of impropriety in the sport. And that, to me, is not just a value to Jamaica as an ambassador, but a value to the sport and to young people as well, that you can achieve if you work hard. You don't need to cheat, you don't need to use artificial enhancement.
At Jamaica House Saturday morning, Prime Minister Holness met with IAAF President Lord Sebastian Coe, who was on the island to attend Bolt's final race. Mr. Holness was joined by Sport Minister Olivia Grange. During Saturday's courtesy call, Prime Minister Holness received a copy of a book celebrating the track legend, published by the editorial department of the Gleaner Company Limited. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.